Well, in the and the generational issues within the LGBTQ context are really complex because the whole nature of queer identity has changed so much. The nature of gender and how we approach gender has changed so much. And I mean, I'm of an age where it was a big deal to embrace the fact that I'm a gay man. But that notion is so tied to a gender binary that doesn't work for so many people, and increasingly people are stepping up and embracing the fact that I'm not just a man or just a woman. So there's all of that kind of generational difference within the LGBTQ context, and it manifests in other ways as well. You know, we are at Sage a very, very trans inclusive organization, and that is a struggle for some of our older constituents, and in some ways that are particularly challenging. So, for example, some of the older lesbians that we work with have great difficulty accepting older trans women into women's programming at Sage because from their perspective, those folks have benefited from patriarchy in our society and therefore haven't lived the same lives as the lives that they have led and therefore can't have the same conversations. It's immensely complicated. And that's something that I don't believe is as much of a preoccupation among younger lesbians, but among a cohort of older lesbians, it's quite a focus. So this generational stuff is immensely complicated. Not to mention, most of Sage's staff are younger, our constituents are older, and our constituents do not like being led or told or taught by the young staff at Sage, which is entirely understandable, right? So these are all very complicated challenges. I find that the generational issues are some of the most challenging issues. I'm a 57-year-old, gay man, and I will just say I struggle sometimes myself to understand some of the perspectives that some of our younger staff bring around decision making and how work gets done and transparency, and these have been things I've really had to kind of challenge myself, on, and also in another example, how to figure out how to be respectful of our older constituents, respectful of the perspectives they bring, respectful, for example, of important perspectives around gender and patriarchy. How do you balance that with the fact that we insist on being a trans-inclusive organization? We insist on respecting and accepting each person for the gender that is their gender. And so as the head of the organization, it is a lot of learning, it's a lot of nuance, and then sometimes it's line drawing. And we did have a situation a couple of years ago where there were a number of older women who were participating in a women's program, and they were vocally opposing the participation of trans women in that program. And in that particular case, it was drawing a line, and it was saying, that's not how we're going to operate here. This is going to be an inclusive program, and you have the option of not being in the program, but you don't have the option of, through your behavior, making it exclusive. So sometimes it is about drawing those lines.